Let's be honest, some shows live or die by their setting. Gilmore Girls had Stars Hollow, Dawson's Creek had Capeside, and Everwood had, well, Everwood. A fictional Colorado town with snow-capped mountains, open-hearted neighbors, and just enough dysfunction to keep things interesting. But Everwood wasn't just a pretty backdrop. It was the story. A living, breathing presence. A crucible where characters were tested, shaped, broken, and rebuilt. And for me, this kind of setting matters so much. It's the difference between a show you watch and one you feel like you've lived through. So today, we're talking about the unsung main character of the series, the town of Everwood itself. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. This episode contains major spoilers from across all 4 seasons of Everwood. If you haven't seen the full series yet, consider this your official warning. On paper, Everwood is your classic small town setup. A tight-knit community, quirky side characters, an eatery that seems to always be open, and plenty of snow. But what makes it work is how deeply tied the town is to the emotional arc of the series. When Dr. Andy Brown moves his family to Everwood, after the death of his wife, the town becomes a mirror for their grief. It's cold, isolated, foreign, and that's exactly how Andy, Ephraim, and Delia feel inside. But as the series goes on, the town softens, and so do they. Everwood, as a setting, evolves with the characters. It becomes more familiar, warmer, the seasons change, and so do the people. And that kind of environmental storytelling, it hits hard. Because the place starts to feel like a character with its own emotional rhythm. Everwood isn't just where the story takes place. It comments on the story. The townspeople act like a kind of Greek chorus, reflecting, amplifying, and sometimes even challenging what's going on with the main characters. Think about it. Every time Andy makes a choice, good or bad, someone in town has an opinion. Whether it's Edna's brutal honesty, Harold's smug disapproval, or Nina's quiet wisdom, the town itself reacts. It forces accountability. It gives context. It tells us what this world values. And for a show like Everwood, which is all about morality, grief, connection, and second chances, having that chorus of community voices is vital. The town doesn't just house the drama, it helps shape the ethical questions that drive it. Now, as someone who really cares about this kind of stuff, about authenticity and emotional texture in shows, this is where Everwood stands out. I love when a show's setting feels lived in, when the geography means something, when you can feel the temperature, the silence, the weight of the mountains, because all of that changes how a story lands. It's something Gilmore Girls nailed with Stars Hollow. You didn't just watch Lorelai and Rory, you lived among the townspeople. Same with Dawson's Creek. The water, the dock, the winding roads. They all meant something. They carried the mood. And Everwood does this with such subtlety. The mountains isolate characters and push them inward. The seasons reflect their growth or stagnation. Even recurring settings like Mama Joy's or the Brown family household become emotional landmarks. The town isn't just where things happen, it shapes what happens. One of my favorite things about Everwood is how the town holds memory. Not just for us as viewers, but for the characters. In the early episodes of Everwood, Dr. Brown converts an old, long-abandoned train station into his medical practice. On the surface, it's just a quirky choice for a town newcomer. But as the series goes on, the space begins to carry emotional significance. The office becomes a site of emotional transformation, not just for Andy, but for the town itself. It's where patients unburden themselves, Sometimes not just physically, but emotionally too, where Harold Abbott barges in with judgment and eventually becomes a reluctant partner. Over time, what was once just a dusty relic of Everwood's past becomes a crucible for reconciliation, heartbreak, and healing. The building holds memory, not just in what happens inside it, but in what it represents. Andy's attempt to rebuild his life, to become the kind of father and doctor he wasn't before his wife's death. Just like Andy, the space evolves. It absorbs tension, joy, grief, and slowly becomes a cornerstone of the town's emotional map. Every time the camera cuts to the old station, we don't just see a building, we feel everything that's happened inside it. At its heart, Everwood was never just about individual storylines. It was about what happens when people grow up in a place that watches them closely. A place that loves you, judges you, comforts you, and sometimes holds up a mirror you're not quite ready to look into. Everwood, the town, wasn't perfect, but it was honest. And for me, that honesty is what makes the show resonate 2 decades later. So if this town meant something to you, if it felt like more than a backdrop, I'd love to hear about it. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to check out the rest of the videos in the Everwood series playlist. We've covered Amy, Ephraim, Bright, family dynamics, and more. I'll see you next time on the Hangout.